For such a prestigious night, it's important that everyone is properly dressed, okay? You're dressed well. Adam.
Conan, what's up, my brother? What's going on, Matt?
Adam, what are you wearing?
What are you doing right now?
I'm asking you what you're wearing.
Nobody even thought about what I was wearing till you brought it up!
You're dressed like a guy playing video poker at 2 a.m., Adam.
And you know what, Conan? I like the way I look, because I'm a good person. I don't care about what I wear or what I don't wear. Did my snazzy gym shorts and fluffy sweatshirt offend you so much that you had to mock me in front of my peers?
Hey, I'm sorry. Adam, I apologize.
I'm going. I'm gonna go off. I go. Yeah, I'm leaving. I have to. It's not you. No, it's not you. It's him. He's the one. You caused this. But
I'm sorry.
You are all welcome to join me for a game of 5-on-5 basketball at Veteran Park tonight. Midnight tip-off, the guy from Nostarafu. Where is he? He's on my team. One more thing. Shut up!
Good morning, Owasso. This is the Twins with Owasso Live, and this is the Morning Loop. And that was Hollywood desperately trying to cling to relevance by bringing basically the only person that we know is actually a good person in Hollywood, Adam Sandler. And, you know, that was probably the only likable bits that even occurred.
Yeah.
You know, like everything else was just ridiculous. And speaking of, you know, Conan calling out Adam for not being well dressed. Obviously, that was a bit staged and all that. But did anyone happen to catch like the ladies of the Oscars and what they're like? I mean, they were not properly dressed, I would say, especially for girls who are getting up in their late 30s and 40s. You know, like these girls. I mean, it's like no one ever told them that the modest is the hottest.
Yeah.
Or they have no class. But I mean, this is the desperate attempt of women who are past the wall or at the wall trying to, you know, maintain relevancy. So I'm still pretty, right? You know, it's like, I mean, you got a good body for a 40-year-old.
Well, hence the name of the show today, which is Oscars Copy Kanye. And that's what we got. Like, it's like, everyone like threw a fit over Kanye's wife wearing a see-through dress at the Grammys or whatever, and then like to maintain some desperate attempt to stay relevant, what do? Hollywood's like, we'll do that too, except you know we'll at least keep it semi-modest, or it looks like they're in like lingerie or underwear.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, all these chicks just took one right. Again, everybody was upset and criticizing Kanye and his wife, and now they all did the exact same thing. I mean, you can just click on any of these images of these chicks, and it's just like. I mean, you're going to like the most, but I mean, the Met Gala and all this stuff. I mean, some of the girls like wear sand and wear body paint and stuff now. It's getting ridiculous. You know, it's like fashion's no longer fashion. Fashion is, you know, let's just put some duct tape and a potato chip on a girl and people just be like, this is high art. This is, you know, the next $1 billion dress. You know, it's like, what are you talking about, man? It's like all those you remember those College Humor skits back in the day? It's like no jeggings allowed.
Yeah,
and like that's like the whole thing. It's like
it's like what can we wear as clothes that's not clothes?
Yeah,
like lampshade party.
Yeah, ABC party, anything but clothes party. So this is where we're going as society. I mean, like you can just see the degeneracy and the cultural decay in Hollywood right there. You know, it's like. Adam Sandler, like I can dig what Adam Sandler's doing. It's like, yeah, dress comfy, dress casual. Like I'm a big fan of Adam Sandler. It's like, yes, do that. Dress comfy, dress casual. You know, this again, it's just women desperately trying to stay relevant, desperately trying to cling to, you know, their youth and beauty for the last little bit, and it's sad, and you can see it. But I mean, like, just look at some of these pictures here. I mean, you can zoom in on some. I don't even know which ones you want to do. Like, that one's probably one of the more classier ones of the ones that are there, which is surprising, you know?
Olivia Wilde's the one that...
Yeah, Olivia Wilde is, I mean, like, she is attractive for someone in her 40s, but again, she's someone. She's a mother. Like, set an example for your daughters. Don't be out there be like, I'm gonna be as beautiful as long as I can. I'm gonna upstage my daughters and stuff at the premieres. It's like, holy cow, man.
So look,
yeah, Zoe Kravitz looks ridiculous. Like, I mean, like it's like the butt flap from those classic like pajamas.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Like, that is hilarious. Like, it's like, ma'am, you left your butt flap down. You got to be kidding me, dude.
I don't know who this is, but she's definitely well past her prime. But she's like, look.
Isn't that Ferris Bueller's wife?
I have no clue, man.
What's her name? The lady from Sex and the City? That's not her?
That could be her. I have no clue. I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't watch this stuff anymore. I haven't watched the Oscars in ages.
Yeah, I know. I really haven't watched the Oscars in a long time. And again, none of the movies I even heard about, except for, it's like I heard that it was like between a hooker and a trans person were the two, like, ones bouting for Best Picture and Best Actor and all that crap. Which is even funnier, too, because I guess what? A man was nominated for Best Actress in that trans movie.
Not just in sports. Like I said, men are coming for women's like titles in every category.
Men are dominating everywhere. Women, you can't even be. You're not even that good at actresses. Men are coming up and saying that they're the best actresses now. Like that's how sad this again cultural decay. Like Hollywood is the epitome of our cultural decay.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, with the way they're dressed, the way they act, the fact that men are getting awards for being women, it's everywhere, and it's so sad. And again, they're all competing for what? A false idol, a shiny golden god. It's so funny. Did I send you that Babylon Bee thing too?
Yes. Let me pull that.
Pull that up really
actually,
quick. 'Cause I swear, like, is it just me? Am I just am I just a child? Am I just like super? What's the word? I guess I'm super immature for my age. I don't know, but there's this stinking picture that I sent Chad, and it's from the Babylon Bee. So I mean, I guess it could be doctored to some degree, but there it is. Yeah, pull that thing over if you can.
Yeah.
But so Chad's gonna pull over this image from the Babylon Bee, and it's an image of the Oscars, and if y'all can, I mean, you can read the thing when you get a chance, Chad. But
absolutely. Give me 1 second here. I'm trying to shrink it down to size.
Sure.
There we go. All right. Says here, movies you've never heard of but win Best Pictures is what the Babylon Bee says about it.
But anyway, it's not just that. I mean, because that's the way it's been forever. Like, I mean, they're crappy movies win Best Picture every year because it's about high art, stuff that you, the average consumer, can't understand why this is such high art. But is it just me, or is that are you zooming in?
I'm zooming in on it. Yeah.
Is it just me, or is that like the background thing, whatever that thing is in the back? You got the Oscar standing in front of it, but does that not look like a giant like dick? Like, is that not like a wiener? Like a dick and balls right there?
Yeah, they did. They smuggled that in there. If you can't tell from that shape, the little two circles here at the bottom, and that kind of like has this little like straight up and down around that circle.
Yeah, it's like, again, that is their church. This is their, like you have your false idol, your god, your little Oscar thing, and then you have your what do you call it? What do you call the stained glass, window there, and it's balls, like what the heck, man? Again, maybe it's just me, maybe I'm just immature, which is a big possibility. I don't know, but that's just me. That's just what I saw when I looked at that. I was like, is that real, or is this just like Babylon Bee messing with them? So I don't know, but I mean, again,
but the other part of this is like all the best pictures were none of the major studio ones. Like none of the major studios like won like anything.
Yeah.
Like, so everything's going independent is like the big thing. Like, I mean, if there's a allegory to like what's going on in real life, like all the institutions are losing their power.
Yes. The institutions are losing power. They're not trustworthy. And, again, this is what happens when you have DEI initiatives and, quotas for diversity, equity, and inclusion. I mean, it doesn't make for good films. So again, what's going to happen here is two things are going to have to either happen. Either independent media is just going to take over and it's only going to be independent creators making good films, or the institutions like CNN and all these other places are going to maintain power by hiring these directors and these actors and getting them under contract so they can't say and do certain things in order to, we have this hot director, but now he's less edgy and less, whatever, because he's not saying what he feels because he's contractually obligated not to bash the studios, or he's contractually obligated to say certain things or not say certain things, and that's how they get you.
Yep.
You know.
And then, like, here's just all relevance is, like, Hollywood trying to, like, demasculinize men. Like, James Bond in 1997, you know, he's got the girl on the motorcycle and she's riding back. And then,
Yeah,
James
I mean,
Bond
that was such a great
2021
scene because they were handcuffed together and they were jumping back and forth doing things. So she would jump and sit in front of him on his lap, then she'd jump behind him so it'd be easier for him to see and drive. Like, that was fun. It was a fun little way to... that's like, well, what if they did this scene but they were handcuffed? You know, it's like, and they're riding a motorcycle. It's like, that's good. And like then you have that Bond, like, and what makes me so mad about the Daniel Craig era is the Daniel Craig era actually started off pretty good. I'm not a fan of Daniel Craig. I'm not a fan of the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. I liked the first one. Kind of went over my head when I was younger. I was like, I did not like Casino Royale very much at all. I liked Skyfall. I thought Skyfall was decent, but you know, it again, it just kind of lost the plot. Like it's like what we're actually the film was originally about changed halfway through, and now it's just a revenge story. It's like, what about the code disc with all the aliases of all the agents that were undercover out there? It's like, oh, that didn't really matter. Yeah. But again, this picture right here summarizes perfectly what has happened to what the downfall of masculinity and the downfall of good storytelling. I mean, and Pierce Brosnan is, in my opinion, the James Bond. You know, it's like Sean Connery was the first James Bond, but Pierce Brosnan is James Bond.
Yeah. Said, yeah, that, and like his era, the Daniel Craig era is the era that James Bond became Jason Bourne.
Yes, he's not Jason Bourne. And again, he kept going, like, the Austin Powers movies ruined being able to tell jokes in James Bond. No, it didn't. Pierce Brosnan was still making Bond movies when the Austin Powers movies came out. Yeah. So don't give me that crap. And he was still wisecracking. Like, again, Pierce Brosnan is James Bond. He still has that level of suave and coolness, but he's still able to casually just kind of quip and make it funny and good. Like, I mean, like that. Again, Pierce Brosnan, like that era of Pierce Brosnan, they were still cracking jokes. They were still quippy. They were still funny. And then, like, freaking Daniel Craig's like, we can't tell jokes because of Austin Powers. You know, it's like, what are you talking about, bro? Like, did you watch the Pierce Brosnan era of Bond?
Yeah.
Am I crazy here? He's just gaslighting me. It's like, what are you talking about, dude? Yeah. Like, seriously, it's crazy. But again, that right there, just look at that picture. You know, and even then, in that particular Bond movie, like, Bond didn't get that girl. Like, he didn't get with her because China didn't want a Chinese actress hooking up with. They thought it would be inappropriate for Chinese audiences.
Yeah, that, and like, you know,
that was in 1997.
They never wanted. They said that it's just China has all these stipulations for having people in their movies. Like, you can never look better. I mean, that's the main reason why like Rush Hour was so popular. Was like you had the incompetent detective, but he was street smart, and then you had Jackie Chan who basically did everything for him. It's like it makes the Chinese people look good and, you know, suave, whereas it makes the the American look silly.
It's amazing how good, or how long that's been going. I mean, like, as far back as, again, you said Rush Hour is a good example of it. You know, it's like the Chinese person has to be just as good, if not better.
But that's exactly what it was. Like, if you ever watch the movie, like, anytime that he saves her, she has to save him. They have to be equal.
Yes.
There's never like, oh, I saved her butt, and then, whatever. But that's true. I never realized that. Yeah, they never hooked up.
Yeah, he only hooks up with the girl from... what's that shit? Superman and the Diaries of Superman and Lois or whatever.
Her.
Her, like Hatcher. Terry Hatcher, that's who it was. Terry Hatcher. He hooked up with Terry Hatcher and she gets killed, and then you think that they're supposed to get together and nothing ever happens between them. Again, that's Chinese stipulations back as far as 1997.
Because they don't want to make it look like that someone's getting one over on China.
Yeah, and again, now it's like Disney movies, like the Mulan movie. Thank the concentration camps for the Muslims that we have locked up. It's like Disney thanked them for having internment camps for people. Like, it's crazy the world we live in now.
Yep.
But again, and now we can kind of shift over to Disney.
Shifting over to Disney. Yeah, shifting over to Disney. Give me 1 second here. Okay. Anyway, let me pull this back up. There we go. Oh. There we go. All right. So, in other words, Disney, like I said, everyone like got the news breaking that Kathleen Kennedy was going to be stepping down from Disney at the end of this year.
I know. We all got pumped up. We were all excited to hear that. It's like, man, maybe Star Wars will get some good storytelling in there. Mm-hmm. And of course not. She came out and goes, nope, I'm not stepping down anytime soon. You know, you're just like, what the heck is going on? Why do these rumors keep surfacing? You know, I guess she must. But again, I think she's a typical lady. You know, I think she has her good days and her bad days, her highs and lows, just like everybody. It's like she gets nothing but negative feedback from audiences like us. You know, somebody like me is like, yeah, no, your films have all been crap. The closest thing you had to decent was Rogue One.
Yep.
And I'd say Rogue One underperformed for me. You know, I didn't think Rogue One was that good. Mm-hmm. But it was better than anything else they put out. But that's because Gareth Edwards was in control. That was his movie. Mm-hmm. Yep. So I don't know, man. I wish she would just go away. I wish she'd have the nerve to just be like, yeah, I blew it. And again, she's been a part of some of the best movies in history, but again, it's because she was surrounded by talented people like Spielberg and Lucas. Yeah. And then she had one. She produced an M. Night Shyamalan movie. She produced Signs. It's like, but yeah, you produced it. You didn't actually do anything for it. That was M. Night Shyamalan's, movie.
Yeah. Being thrown on an executive producer credit doesn't mean
it doesn't mean anything. Jack. It's just your name put out there and being like, I'm the money behind it. But again, being an executive producer or a producer is like being a good gambler or a good stockbroker. It's like you chose a good horse to bet on. Congratulations. And it paid off for you. It doesn't mean you are particularly good at storytelling, or it means, again, it's like what there's a celebrity or a director, somebody goes, to this day, I still have no idea what a producer does. And again, an easy way to describe, I guess, what a producer does is it's somebody who produces, somebody who can get you stuff. So it's like, hey, I need a plane for this scene. It's like, oh, hey, I think I might know a guy. Or I can facilitate that. That's a producer. They're not like that. Like, their ideas should not be really considered when like talking about the high art of your film. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's like, I need this particular thing. I need this obscure background scenery. I need this thing. It's like they're connections people. Their job is facilitating things for the movie.
Yes. So getting to the article here, Star Wars defined Kathleen Kennedy, but it is not the most important accomplishment of her career. And this is from CBR.
Destroying Star Wars was the most important thing in her career.
That's literally what I was about to make the joke of. The rumor that Kathleen Kennedy is stepping down from Matt Belloni, sloppy reporting on Puck has since been debunked by Lucasfilm CEO herself in an interview with Deadline. Kennedy clarified, the truth is, I just want to say loud and clear, I am not retiring. I will never retire from movies. I will die making movies. That will be the first thing that's important to say. I am not retiring. That is the biggest dream crusher right there. Yeah. Is like a lady that has literally ruined one of the ultimate franchises in, movie history and cinema history is not stepping down.
Billion, maybe even $1 trillion franchise, and she's just like, she's literally crapped on. I mean, she destroyed Star Wars. She destroyed Indiana Jones. I mean, there's a reason that the original Star Wars trilogy is remembered as fondly as it is. There's a reason the original Indiana Jones series is remembered as fondly as it is. Again, I mean, even Spielberg and Lucas were not protected from destroying their own IP. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, does anybody remember the fourth one with Shia LaBeouf? Awful. It was awful.
The worst Indiana Jones movie ever until the next one. And here's what it says right here. There is no question Star Wars would not continue to exist without Kennedy's leadership.
What are you talking about? Star Wars would have continued to exist with fan fiction and fan films and video games. Like, video games have done a better job telling modern Star Wars films than film has.
And we always, like I said, that's the thing. Everyone hates to say this too, but like, do you realize like some of the best like Star Wars like spin-offs or movies actually have been the ones where George Lucas has been the most hands-off. Mm-hmm. Empire Strikes Back was not done by George Lucas.
Yeah, he was pretty hands-off on that. He wrote a little bit of it, but then Ivan Kershner, did a really good job of telling that
and then,
story.
The Old Republic stuff, Star Wars: The Old Republic. You know, like let's set a video game series so far in the past that we won't mess with George's.
Yeah, we won't
like,
mess with George's canon and his timeline. We'll just
exactly.
These are stories that happened before with lightsabers and things like that. We have all the technology, but we don't have any of the handcuffed stuff about the Skywalkers. We're not handcuffed to the Skywalkers saga.
Exactly, and that's what it was. Like, so those are some of the best, franchises, or some of the best spin-offs or games and cinema in history.
Yeah, and seriously, and again, they talked about the disgusting way in which she dismissed all of the previous lore. I mean, there's expanded universe stuff about Star Wars, about the Skywalkers after Return of the Jedi, in books and narratives. It's like some of those books are the best and most beloved books ever written about the Star Wars. Like, they love the characters that are in them, like Mara Jade, Luke's wife. It's like there's a ton of good stuff. Instead, nope, let's make Luke a loser, make Han and Leia bad parents. Like their kids struggled with the Force and the dark side and the light, but like I said, they weren't bad parents. It's like Han Solo wasn't the guy that just disappeared into smuggling again and just became the old loser that he was. It's like, come on, man.
But that's her right now. Is like I said, Kathleen Kennedy says she was inspired by Steven Spielberg, and she worked in collaboration with Steven Spielberg on movies like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and all this stuff. Like, but yeah, she's not doing much in them. Like, I mean, she's standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah,
of giant filmmakers, of guys who came up through making some of the best cinema in history. And she's like, look, I'm just as good as they are. No, you're not.
Yeah.
You're taking their IP and credit for things that you helped on that you weren't the main part of, and being like, look, I did this.
Yeah, and that's the thing. She's like Dwight from The Office. Like, I'm the assistant manager, assistant to the manager, not the assistant manager. Again, she basically started off as a glorified secretary. Like, she was a secretary for Spielberg or Lucas, and then was able to leverage that her connection with Spielberg, and it was like, I'll do this for you instead. I'll do this now. Yeah. It's like, hey, yeah, you're kind of useful. You're more useful. She became more useful as she came on. But again, she's not an innovator. She's not a creator. She's just she's a gopher. She was a gopher.
She's the ultimate gopher, and that's even what it's saying. I mean, the more I'm reading into this, like when she was helping with E.T., she should be a producer on E.T. Is like, great. So you helped Steven Spielberg make E.T. He made it. He wrote it. He did all this stuff.
It's like she's the one that went and got in the car and drove out and got the chicken wire and Play-Doh for E.T.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I did it. That like I created E.T. It's like, no, the script was already well made. Like, you just were the one that got in the car, used your gas money to go get the Play-Doh and chicken wire.
Yeah. It's like, this is just literally this thing is a whole puff piece about her being a great producer. A great producer is like, yeah, she's a great producer, but she needs to be hands off on
the creative
whole
side.
Creative side, and like the people that she hired to take over, like what's his name, the Ryan Johnson or whatever, take over on The Last Jedi, ruined it.
Yeah,
ruined it. I mean, we have not seen. Me and you have not seen a Star Wars movie since The Last Jedi.
It was so bad, so bad. I think the last one we saw, we went and saw the Force Awakens, then it was the Rogue One, then it was then we saw Solo, I guess. Solo, a Star Wars story, and then it was The Last Jedi, and I was like, I'm done. Mm-hmm. I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, but she's literally just a helper. All she is good at is being a helper to somebody doing
assistant
something
to
the director. Exactly. Like right here is like, this is the DEI concept that we're talking about. Like, look, the Force is female.
That was like 2014, man. Like, that's how long ago this was. This is how quickly they were pushing into this direction.
In a male-dominated industry, Kathleen Kennedy took control. Yeah, and blew it.
Destroyed it. Again, awful.
You have turned a multi-billion-dollar franchise into
a bust. It's awful now. Nobody wants to no one's going to connect with Rey because she has no personality. She's a plank of wood. It's like, oh, she's just better than everyone.
I forget what
everything.
I forget what it was, but it showed a thing. It was of the old. It was the Empire, the Jedi, the Return of the Jedi, versus the what was the last one? I forget what the last movie was called in the new franchise.
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of the Skywalker. And it showed them in it was the scene where they're inside the Imperial shuttle going down, and it showed the smart one, and it was C-3PO, or the knowledgeable one, C-3PO, and it says the knight, Luke, and it said the pilot, Han, it said the mechanic, Chewie. I forget what it said about Princess Leia. It said the
competent leader.
Yeah, competent leader, something along those lines. And then it went to
Rey.
It went to Rey, and Rey was all of them, and then it was
comic relief and diversity hire.
Exactly.
And then it was
exactly.
Rey was all the things in one. She's the pilot. She's the knight. She's the leader. She's everything. And it's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, Poe was there for just comic relief. Finn was there because he was there. Horrible job storytelling. Horrible job in the directions the characters went. Like nothing there. There's no one's going to. Those characters will not resonate with anyone. No one's going to go in 30 years. No one's going to watch the sequel trilogy. They're going to watch the original trilogy, and they're going to watch the maybe the prequels, and then they'll say you don't need to worry about the Disney stuff because it's garbage. Maybe watch Rogue One.
Yeah, but that's really about it, like with the Star Wars stuff. But other than that, like we've been showing that it's not just Hollywood losing institutional power. It's also, as we can see here, journalists. Yeah. Like journalists are like these are not journalists. They are highly paid actors. CNN and MSNBC. I mean, that's true. I mean, because they're firing these people in waves right now because of how much propaganda they were spreading during the whole last. I mean, you can say since Trump's first.
Yeah. They just became a mouthpiece for propaganda. I mean, they always were, but like I said, they didn't have to be so they didn't have to be so ridiculous about it. They didn't have to be so arrogant about it. Now that Trump won, they have to be. They have to be this over-the-top ridiculousness.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this one right here. Mom catches CBS using images of her vaccinated injured child, falsely claiming it was the measles. So this is what was when everybody was blowing up over one measles outbreak in Texas. There's a one measles death or whatever in Texas. This baby that they used for the image in this CBS article, like it was not the measles. Like this is a child bad reaction to a vaccine. Yeah. And the mom is like, yeah, I'm going, and she's going after CBS.
Yeah, she should sue them. Like, you know what I mean? But again, the way they'll win or lose this, whether or not that picture is public domain. If it's public domain, she'll lose. If it's not, she'll win.
Exactly. But then the next one that we have here is like same thing with this. Like, why don't you trust the experts? You know, he's sitting next to clearly a MAGA guy and just like, we the experts were wrong. And then, sitting there is now do climate change.
Yeah. Again, this is the modern peril that we live in, the modern main issue that we have. Can we trust the people on the TV? And I think the answer is no. I mean, we can't trust the government. The government will absolutely lie because it's about power. I mean, COVID was just a giant social experiment done in order to see how long and how far they could push not just the American people, but the global population into doing and what they want.
Yep. I mean, coming back to that, even with the vaccines, like any doctor that remotely said that these vaccines are not tried and true, not tested, were censored on every social media platform.
Yeah. Sorry, these guys are experts in their field, but they're not saying the things we want them to say. So Facebook, YouTube, will you please do away with them? And then Facebook and YouTube happily complied.
Mm-hmm. And then that's really about all I've got, just other than I love this. Someone Clown World turned this into I stand with Blockbuster instead of I stand with Ukraine. And since we're talking movies, thought that was relevant.
Yeah, the only blue and gold that matters was Blockbuster Video.
And for those of you who are putting that I stand with Ukraine stuff, they are taking fighters from foreign nations. So feel free to sign up with your own money and your own lives versus sacrificing the lives of people that you don't know.
And again, surprisingly, at the Oscars, there was not a whole lot of,
there was one lady that, said Slava Ukraine.
Hannah, who was, an irrelevant, 50-year-old actress who's just, again, what did Nerdrotic say about them? They become actrivists.
Yeah, activists. Yeah,
because
activists.
after they're past their prime, they're not attractive anymore. They have to become activists. They have to do or say something controversial or be on the right political side in order to maintain their relevance. Because no one's going to come to them for roles anymore. You know, she's not that prolific of an actress where people are gonna be like, "Wow, you remember Daryl Hannah and Splash?" Like, yeah, that was like 40 years ago. It's like, well, she's still around, and she said Slava Ukraine. It's like, wow, how stunning, how brave, you know, like that's it. That desperate Hail Mary cling to cultural relevancy. You know, it's sad, you know.
But that's really all we've got for today, so I guess we can wrap it up right there unless there's anything else you wanted to talk about.
No, I mean, the Hollywood is the epitome of what our social decay of our society looks like. The fact that, you know, it's like women are wearing nothing to these these shows,
dresses and lingerie.
Something that would have been considered like the epitome of American culture back in the day. And now the epitome of American culture is dressing down, getting as naked as possible, even in your 30s and 40s.
The whole thing of them making fun of Kanye for that. How dare Kanye make his wife or his girlfriend?
How dare Kanye objectify his girlfriend? We want to objectify ourselves, you know.
But yeah, then they go, "What is so the Grant? He does that at the Grammys, and then the Oscars are like, we can do that too."
Yep. A bunch of high art.
So you could still say it. Kanye's still a trendsetter.
He is. Yeah, Kanye is the trendsetter. It's like, yeah, do you know what the future of the fashion industry is going to be? See-through dresses. Like, and then everyone's like, yep, that's it.
Hey, that would make dating a lot easier.
Oh yeah, ladies, this might not go as well as you think for you, unless you have a legion of personal trainers and diets. I mean, y'all have Instagram and, you know, Facebook. You have legions of personal trainers and fitness gurus on there. So, I mean, technically, everyone should be fit, right? But no, we want gym results without the gym membership, you know.
Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, that Hollywood is the epitome of our cultural decay, and it's sad because, you know, it used to be something worth watching, and we used to all somewhat agree on the winners and losers of the Oscars, but now it's just irrelevant, and that's like the rest of all the major industries. They all just seem to be fading into irrelevance as, you know, independent media like what we're trying to do here seems to be growing and gaining subscribers and followers. So I guess it's a good thing, but also a bad thing for cultural unity.
Yeah.
But that's about all I've got for you today. This is the Twins with Owasso Live. This was the Morning Loop. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you too can stay in the loop. But that is all we've got for you today. God bless you.
See you later, everybody.
We were just discussing ideas of what to do with the new Prince Eric movie.
Put a chick in it, make her gay!
Yes, Miss Kennedy, some of the execs are just expressing that maybe...
Well, that maybe we should go a different route than we did with Indiana Jones.
Fuck Indiana Jones, put a chick in it and make her name it gay!
Sure, yeah. Well, let's try that. Again.